Right in the front on third row.
Hey, Jalen, Michael Grange from Rogers Sportsnet in Toronto. You've matched up a little bit with Pascal Siakam off and on through this series. What makes him a tough cover? What have you kind of come to appreciate that maybe you didn't know from this kind of repeated exposure?
I wouldn't say I learned anything new except like when you don't guard somebody all season, like you kind of figure things out. But he's physical, he's skilled. When you put those two things together, it's hard to deal with for sure. And I think the biggest thing for me was he was taller than I thought coming into the NBA. I guess like that's not really like a shock now, but just like that, like when you're tall, physical, and obviously like when you've been through this finals process a couple times, just like the playoffs of your career, like you get better, and a lot of moments don't really rattle you. So he's been a tough cover, but it's been really fun to go up against him every game and kind of have that battle.
Barry?
Yeah, Barry Trammell, Tulsa World. Coming in, everybody often talked about lack of deep playoff experience by you guys, but the biggest mismatch in experience is on the coaching bench with Carlisle versus Mark. How do you feel like he's held up? What have you liked during this playoff run that you've seen from him? And how much pressure is on him to coach well in a Game 7?
I have very mixed thoughts about this question. I don't ever worry about Mark not being prepared for a moment. The way he attacks basketball from a coaching standpoint is the same way I approach basketball, which is why we have a lot of respect for each other. So I'm not like too worried about the experience there. Obviously, Rick is another great, probably Hall of Fame coach. So I think Mark's also getting better coaching against him like the same way we would as we get deeper into this run. And I feel like just from like a playoffs, like lack of deep finals experience, like we were probably about as deep into the finals as you can get, like a Game 7. So I'm never worried about Mark and what's going on with him. And at the end of the day, Mark is not going to have to make shots on Sunday. So it's more about how we can carry out his game plan and do that.
Jenny?
Hey, Jalen, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. You guys played a Game 7 a month ago against Denver, and you told us afterwards you didn't sleep very much the night before. But I'm wondering, what did you learn from that Game 7 experience? So many of you don't have Game 7 experiences. I know this is a whole other level, but what did you learn from that, and what do you hope translates tomorrow?
Try and go to bed a little earlier. The other part, too, is just like you can't really the swings of a game, I feel like in a Game 7 feel so much louder than they do in any other game, except maybe apart from like an elimination game. I feel like tomorrow they'll feel a little different too, just because obviously it's the last game of the season. This is for the championship. So I think it's just what Game 7 taught me for Denver is just like the swings. Like 3 feels like you're down 10. You know what I mean? 1 feels like you're down 5. Like that's just like the swing of the game, and what's going on feels much larger. So it's just kind of about like honing in your emotion and like understanding the state of the game is big for Game 7.
Fourth row on the right. Vince?
Jalen, Vince Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. I think the last time the NBA had a Game 7 in the finals, you might have been 14 years old, 15 years old in 2016. Being in your third year, I'm sure there's so many more experiences you have yet to experience, but can you appreciate like that this is going down in history, that win or lose, you're a part of NBA lore? I think there's only been 5 Game 7s in the past 35 years.
Yeah, it sucks. I probably can't appreciate it until I get the outcome I want. So it's cool though. Somewhere down the line, win or lose, it'll be cool to have your name etched in history, regardless of what's going on. So I think that's cool. But right now, like it's very difficult to look into that. But I'm also grateful for the opportunity. That's one thing I can say is like throughout the whole entire thing, you always have to like remain grateful for where you are, because there's a lot of NBA players that'll trade their spot with me right now. So that's how I look at it. But as far as like being in history, like I want to be on the good side of that for sure.
Nick, on the right.
Mark talks a lot about trying to keep things straightforward and simple so that you're not, as a team, you guys aren't thinking out there, you're playing instinctually and with great force. Can you maybe take me inside a little bit about how you guys have gone about that over time, and obviously need to have that again tomorrow?
Yeah, over time we've had a good process about it. We've had some slippage. You're trying to get back to that, but tomorrow it's kind of like a do or die situation, so I don't doubt that we won't have that. But I think we've done a good job just building the muscle. We've talked about that all year. In those games that people don't think matter when you're playing late December, on a Tuesday night and you're not even on TV, like those games, the ones where you can really build a habit there. I think we've done a good job of that all year, and we'll have to do it one more time.
Second row on the right.
Hey, Jalen, draftados from Spain. As Vincent said, you were like 15 years old when the last Game 7 of the finals was played. I was just wondering, what do you remember from those games, if you do? And what you remember from those games gets you excited about playing tomorrow?
Who was in the finals then?
Cavs Warriors.
Bro, I don't even remember that, to be honest. Like, 15, I was probably like an AAU tournament or something playing. I remember, like, the biggest thing from the finals is, like, I remember a lot of the stuff surrounding it. Like, I don't remember the actual games. When you're 15, like, I feel like you miss a lot of, like, what's going on. Like, you're more worried about, like, your favorite player. Like, Kobe wasn't playing, so I didn't really care. But I just remember, like, the buzz and just, like, everybody kind of choosing a side, which is why I think it's really cool that I've had this experience like Oklahoma, where you're driving down the city and there's paintings of Thunder Up, and, like, I'm walking to, like, Target and there's people face painted, and the game's not even today, and, like, you can see the bars are full every game, and we're packing out the stadium while we're not here. Like, that's a lot of the stuff that I'll really remember. That's a lot of the stuff I remember, like, during that run, like during that finals time.
Left side, towards the center. Go ahead.
Michael Martin, Let's Talk Thunder. Dub, I'd imagine that sort of through the course of your career, when you had that growth spurt, you had to adjust your game to that. And then again in the NBA, once you sort of put on all that muscle to your frame. Wanted to ask, is this the best you felt in terms of like the balance of your actual basketball game and your physique that you've had?
My physique for sure. Basketball-wise, yeah. I think I just feel myself getting better throughout, like, the finals and just, like, throughout the year, which is always, like, a good feeling. Even when I, like, struggled, like, there's been, like, for me at least, there's been a lot of, like, positivity behind, like, how I've been struggling and, like, when that was. So I just think throughout the year I've just gotten way better. But physically, yeah, I feel really good. Just kind of lets me know, like, what I did last summer to get my body in shape for this, and what I've been able to do to maintain it throughout the year has been a big one. So I've been good at that.
Tim, last question here on the left.
Deb, you mentioned the face painting fans and all that kind of stuff. You've compared it to like a high school football powerhouse type of feel. Well, what's the feeling like when like Game 7 starting the last time you had one here, just with the crowd and the atmosphere, and what do you anticipate for tomorrow?
It makes, like, the hair on your arms stand up a little bit. Like, it's so, like, you're, like, anxious going into it. It's honestly, like, it's a little, like, indescribable, because it's like and it's hard to give, like, a good answer, because this Game 7 is going to be completely different from the last one we played in. But from, like, a fan perspective, I can't imagine it won't be anything short of, like, incredibly loud. Obviously, they're going to be anxious too. Like, we're very close to, finishing the job, but very close doesn't get you far unless you finish it. But I am excited just to see, like, how much the city shows out, and, like, I don't know, Paycom will obviously have a very different energy than it's probably ever had, so I'm excited for that.
Thanks, Jalen.